Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwonders.com. It is another week, and that means we're going to start the Monday with Today in Sports Betting. And, of course, who better to take a look at Today in Sports Betting to start the week? He's the one, the only. He is my partner in crime. He's my co-host with the most. It is Scott Reichel. Scotty, how are you today?
Doing pretty well. We got a lot of sports to recap from the weekend. Unfortunately, NASCAR we can't recap because the race didn't happen. It's happening later today because of some rain. But I'm happy they finally got golf finished after they had about a rain delay for an hour and change. Would have been really annoying to pause in the middle of day 4 and move it to day 5. So I'm kind of happy they got that finished. Great tournament. I thought that was definitely one of the highlights of the weekend. The UFC card was pretty good. And other than that, the Belmont was pretty chalky, to say the least, but it was profitable, so I can't really complain.
That's right, and hopefully you tuned into our Belmont preview show on Friday with Curtis Calward from the Racing Dudes. Man, it was pretty good. He had a lot right. I know you hit the pick 3. I loaded up on that 8 horse in the Belmont. I took a little sniff with the 8-1-1-8 all. Let's see if we could hit the trifecta. The 1 horse ran out of gas about 3/4 of the way through, but that 8 horse, Tis the Law, looked like the dominant horse of the field going in, and he did nothing to dissuade us of that notion after the race was over. Very, very fine race by Tis the Law. It would have been interesting to see those horses go 1.5 miles, but that's not the way this year is going, buddy. So we got 1 1/8. Belmont paid, I think he paid, what did he pay? $18 on a $20 bet, $160 on a $2 bet, I think is what it ended up paying. So, yeah, not a bad 180. Sorry.
Yeah, he closed at a 4 to 5, so that didn't surprise me. I ended up getting a fixed line at -125, so I lost 5 cents of juice there. But in reality, if you take it a couple hours in advance, if he closes 3 to 5, you're guaranteed 25 cents.
Yeah.
Worst case is you're losing 5 cents. So I went for a shot at -125. He won. I wasn't really worried about it. The pick 3 was a little bit annoying. Even though you won, I'm not going to complain about it. But sweating out horses just for a +173 payout is not exactly the way I drew it up. But it would have been a lot more had I not also thrown in some long shots at just, in a break in case of emergency situation. So I took 2 horses per race for the 3 main races, and the favorite won. So, yeah. Alexandra's comeback definitely saved my pick 3, but overall, +173 is better than -1 unit, so I can't really complain about it.
All day, day, Scott. That's you take those wins and you move on.
Yeah, and I had a straight bet on Tiz, so it worked out pretty well. I swept the board in Belmont.
Yeah, that was very nice. I did some good on the earlier races. I know Curtis was nice enough to send us a copy of the Belmont Racing Forum, and that's how I spent my Saturday, pretty much betting on all the horse races.
Did it bother you that the early horse races were not on TV?
They were. You just had to find them. They were on.
I'm saying they were. I'm saying if you dug, you could find them, but shouldn't they have also been on NBC? NBC just decided right before race 8, it's time to bring in the Belmont. I'm like, you've had 4 hours of Belmont coverage earlier. You couldn't have put all the races on TV?
Yeah, it is weird that they're they do some of the pre-race coverage and stuff instead of showing the races.
I thought that they could. I mean, because you have, what do you have? You have like half an hour, 45 minutes in between races.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
You could probably show the races and then do some recap in between. It kind of reminded me of what NBC's done with golf, where they randomly put golf on 3 hours after it started. And I'm wondering, why are you not showing the first 3 hours of this thing?
Now that annoys me. I got to be honest with you.
You could make the same argument with horses. You could say, well, some people might go, well, I don't really care about the golfers that go first, or I don't really care about the horses in the first couple races. The answer is, it's the middle of Saturday afternoon and you have no other sports. What else are you going to show? You should probably, if you put on horse racing at 1 in the afternoon as opposed to 4 in the afternoon, believe it or not, people would still watch at 1 in the afternoon.
I think so, especially as horse racing is betting on horse racing is actually legal throughout the country. It's one of
that's a good statement. Besides that, throughout the country, it's actually legal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It had a carve out. I don't want to go in the weeds, but it had a carve out in the UIGEA in 2007 and carve out through PAPSA. So the PAPSA decision actually didn't affect horse racing online at all. It is completely legal, I believe, in all 50 states, or maybe a state or two that has it outlawed. But I believe there's no federal law for sure against horse racing.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I know that New York has a lot of off-track places where you can place bets and stuff like that in my neighborhood. So if I
you
really
have
want,
a lot of OTB places there.
yeah, so I could honestly drive like 10 minutes and just go to an OTB place. I'd rather do it online because it's right in front of me, but
Right.
in reality, you have that option. So yeah, definitely, I think it should be available for all sports betting, but that's a separate story. We'll get there in probably a couple of years. But either or, yeah, an OTB place definitely should be some type of sports betting place. It's pretty much the same idea. So
I agree.
yeah, but either or, yeah, that's definitely around. So I don't know about all 50 states, but the majority of states have legal sports betting.
Let me ask you a question, Scott. Now, I'm assuming that since Fox has gone to a day at the races every Saturday and Sunday, I think they're doing it both days, like at either FS1 or FS2. I'm guessing, again, a lot of speculation here, and I'm sorry for not looking this up before the show. I just kind of thought of this. I'm guessing the ratings were up for the Belmont. You know, relatively speaking, I know, if you have a Belmont where you have a Triple Crown shot, they're probably big ratings there, but I'm assuming they were very happy with the ratings from Saturday. Do you think any of this momentum will carry over, and do you think horse racing will find any new fans, Scott? Because it's wasn't exactly known as a sport that was on the upswing.
The truth is that I think if it's going to gain new fans, it'll only be temporary. You have races running every day, so of course it's going to be the hot commodity in the short term because a lot of other sports aren't running. But are people really going to watch the midweek Tuesday harness races at Saratoga in the middle of an NBA playoff situation? No, it's based on just the amount of sports attrition that people have right now, where there's not much available. Now, I like horse racing. I've watched horse racing for a while. But I think if you think that the general public will watch horse racing in a weekday in the middle of other sporting events, even baseball, I think the majority, if not all people, would rather watch baseball than horse racing.
So you think it's like, if you have to go to like a research station in Antarctica for a year, and there's just like two ugly chicks there, and you're fine because it's a year. But then when you go back, you're not seeing the ugly chicks anymore.
I mean, that's definitely one. That's definitely one comparison. That's a hell of a parable, I'll tell you that much. But I just a matter of the fact that I think horse racing is attractive because there's nothing else on. I mean, the wonder is, and you talk about the ratings. I don't have information on that. I would love to see if the ratings took a dip when the UFC started early on Saturday, because Belmont overlapped with the UFC coverage. But I'm kind of curious if the ratings held still, or if ratings dropped once there were other sports on television on ESPN. I'd assume that the numbers probably didn't drop because people were invested on, all right, today's the Belmont day, we'll watch the Belmont. I feel like that was kind of what people were doing all day. But I think in reality, if you had horse racing on, but you also had, let's just say, I don't want to say a NASCAR race, because I don't think the ratings on NASCAR are that good either. But let's just say you had a random basketball game on in the middle of the Belmont or, whatever. I think we can agree the Belmont's ratings would be pretty underwhelming.
Probably, yeah.
So for that perspective, to answer your question, I think horse racing's caught on in the short term because they consistently run races. And if you're really desperate for your gambling itch, you can find a track that'll take your action.
Right.
But in terms of the general mainstream sports world, it's not going to compete with the main sports. It's just not going to happen.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. And I think that's probably true. I think that's probably true. I think, they pick up some fans that maybe stop by and, bet on the races more than they would have. Maybe they open their account or something, put $100 in there, have a little fun. So, maybe it does pick up a few more fans, but I think you're right on the overall scheme of things. I think the big four, if you will, are probably going to remain dominant.
I mean, the Triple Crown races maybe, but they already do decently for ratings anyway. It's the midweek stuff. You're talking about the Kentucky Oats, and you're talking about the Breeders' Cup, and even though these are important races for real horse racing fans, for the mainstream public, if it's not the Kentucky, the Preakness, or the Belmont, most people don't care.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So here's the question. We had some funky things happen here in the last week or so before we get going with our recap. Are we going to have sports, Scott? Is the NBA look like if you'll excuse me a pun here today, a slam dunk to get their season started, and now Florida not looking so good down there, brother. Is this going to be a major roadblock in their plans, or is it just going to be a minor speed bump?
I think it's a minor speed bump, at least in the short term. Whether or not somebody catches COVID during the whole restart's a separate story. Because at some point, I do believe that's going to happen. I don't believe you can just quarantine hundreds of people and let employees go in and out and then not expect somebody to get COVID. I just don't see how that's realistic. But in reality, NBA seems committed. The players seem committed for the most part. You haven't really heard much about the Kyrie Irving Black Lives Matter we shouldn't play in the last couple of weeks. That was kind of, didn't it seem like that really came out for maybe a couple days and then nobody's really brought it up ever since?
Well, I think it might have been floated as a trial balloon there, just to kind of see what the public reaction would be.
It could be. I'm just saying. I'm assuming we're in agreement that we haven't really heard much about that idea in the last week or so. It seems like the backlash was so strong that people just kind of dropped that idea. Am I wrong or?
No, I think it definitely came and went.
Yeah. So for the most part, I think it's just going to happen. But the question you have to wonder is A, how many players are comfortable actually making the trip? And B, are you going to be able to keep everybody safe? And you've seen, even in tennis, you had these, I think it was Djokovic's tournament, I believe. He was getting together a tennis tournament with some people in Serbia, and they were just going to have a tournament there. And one of the players, Grigor Dimitrov, who was in the tournament, tested positive for COVID. And they only had 12 people there. I mean, you had fans there. You had a couple thousand fans, which isn't great. But I feel like if you're traveling, you never really know which people you're going to be interacting with. And there's always a shot of however you want to plan it of somebody getting COVID. And I know that, for example, David Bertans, Washington Wizards forward, very good three-point shooter. But he decided he was not going to make the trip. He just decided to pull the plug on his own season, and he's not going to go. And even though he's not a big mainstream name, he's still a very good player from a shooter perspective. But
now the Wizards are
anyway, the point is that you have to wonder, is he alone, or did he make the first step that a lot of other players wanted to make the step, but they didn't have the guts to? And I wouldn't be surprised to see more NBA players potentially just not go.
Well, we'll see.
It's not even just a matter. People might say, well, it's selfish. You should go. You got to go to Orlando. People forget that if they go, they're not going to be with their families for 3 months.
Yeah, also true.
You have to wait until the conference finals to see your family. So it's not just a matter of you quitting on your team. It's a matter of you basically ignoring your wife and daughter for the span of about 2 months.
Okay, well, nobody on the Wizards has to wait 3 months to see.
No, that's correct. That's why I'm saying Bertans not going is just a situation. But you might have to wonder if other players might consider, well, this guy did it, so now it's safer for me to do it.
Well, and I had read something at the beginning of this. It said a lot of the big players have already been paid by just how their contracts work out. I'm not really sure how that worked, but I read that LeBron's already been paid for the year.
That's what I heard also.
So I don't know, I don't know how that works. I know in football you get a game check, but I don't know how it works in the NBA but anyway. So, what's in it for those guys? If you've already been paid?
Besides winning a championship, question, do you consider winning a championship this year the same as other years? Do you think that there's an asterisk next to it, or do you think that it still counts as NBA champions?
I think it still counts. I think you've had
and that's why players will go.
What have we had? About 2/3 of the 3/4 of the way season, 58 games or so? Is that what
that's why the players will go. It's just because of the fact they want to win a championship.
We'll see. So
just imagine the tampering going on in Disney World. That's all I'm going to say. Just imagine the tampering that's going to be going on there.
Well, I think they're going to have to figure out a way to tighten up the bubble too.
I think you have to. But that's what I'm saying, though. Unless you have employees who voluntarily stay in the bubble for 2 straight months, I don't think you can have employees go in and out.
Why would you not do that? If you were let's say you're a line cook or a busboy, and they say, okay, you're a busboy, we're going to give you an extra $5,000 a month. just to live here, and we're going to pay for your room and board, of course, and we're going to throw you an extra $5,000. Why can't they do that?
I think they could. I think the issue is that they don't want to spend the excess amount of money because you have to bring in thousands of employees for the span of 2 months.
You don't have to bring in thousands. You don't have to bring in thousands of employees.
I mean, you got to wonder how many people you actually need. You got to have people looking after the hotel. You got to have chefs. You got to have cooks. They want to bring in DJs and entertainment for the players. You got to have people running the golf course stuff. You got to have people running the pool stuff, the fishing stuff. There's a lot of different stuff Disney has where you're going to need people to oversee it.
Well, if it's a pandemic, we're all suffering. So how about no fishing?
I mean, I'm just saying, if you're talking about what the NBA was priding themselves on showcasing what the Disney properties have to offer.
Okay,
let's one of those things.
Let's think about this. Okay, so there's 12 NBA players. How much staff do you have? 18? So you figure, 30 per team?
Well, we'll say ballpark 30.
Okay.
Not to mention trainers and all this other stuff.
No, I'm counting trainers.
Oh, you're counting trainers?
Counting trainers. So you want to say 50?
I would say, yeah, around 40, give or take.
Okay. And we've got 22 teams?
Yeah.
So that's
800, it's 880 people.
Less than 1,000 people. That's like 5 floors at a Disney hotel.
Yes. But that's not including all the employees for Disney.
That's what I'm saying. But you could keep it all in the same hotel. You could run it out of one hotel. Now, I don't think you need thousands of people to staff that hotel, even if you count golf and fishing, jet skis, whatever the hell it is they do. No, I don't know. I think it's doable. I think it's what they're going to end up doing, Scott.
The NBA already announced that they're going to be using 3 different hotels.
Well, but why? Why do they have to do that?
I don't know either, but they just chose to do that. So based on that, you need the staffing for 3 separate.
Oh, I know. And there's even bets on which hotel the champion will come from. Have you seen that?
I have seen that. I'm assuming that whichever one the Lakers are, just going to be a shorter way to take the Lakers.
The Lakers, Bucks, and Clippers are in the same hotel.
Yeah, that's kind of just what is that? A minus price?
It is a little bit of a minus price. Yeah. Oh, all right.
Yeah, I'm saying because they're using multiple hotels, you probably need to keep at least 1,000 people on staff operational.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know what it takes to run a hotel, but
I think you'd be better off using one hotel and then just locking the whole thing off.
Yes.
That's what I would do.
Then we can bet on what floor the champion comes from. I don't care. Mm-hmm. Yes, I totally agree. Do it in one hotel. Each team could probably have their own floor.
The truth is, the question is this thing going to work or is it going to blow up in their faces? The answer is, as long as you crown an NBA champion at the end of the year, it technically works.
Yeah.
Because people care about the games. I feel like some people mentally have already penciled the season as an asterisk year.
Dude, I'm so excited about NBA games going on all day long.
It's going to be, it's going to be like a March Madness tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be just like, that's very well put. It's going to be like March Madness. Okay, so enough about that. I knew we'd go down the rabbit hole. How we do this weekend, buddy? We talked a little bit about the horse racing. Real chalky. Curtis gave good advice. If you listen to the show, even if you listen to us, God forbid, you made money. So hopefully you played some of our bets. Hopefully you listened to the show. You got down on it. The NASCAR race, it's going on almost as we speak. Got about another hour and a half as we record, and it will get started. Just to recap our NASCAR picks, I'm not going to go through all of them, but I had Logano, Chase Elliott, and Ricky Stenhouse. And Willie had Blaney, Harvick, and Austin Dillon, while you, Scott, had Blaney, Chase Elliott, and Eric Almirola as your long shot. So that's just a recap of, by the way, those bets have already been made, much worse odds than we'd have them on the show, of course. But so I'm down, ready for the race.
I haven't actually checked the odds on those. Have those odds dropped a lot since?
Yeah. Logano was down to 9-1, and I think Logano was 750. Chase Elliott was 9. I did get Ricky Stenhouse at 22. I still got him at 2,200, just like we booked it. So
okay, cool.
All right. So then we had, and that was a big Saturday for me. And I was excited about it because you had golf, you had the horse racing, you had UFC, and I was. You get used to it. You get used to not having
very, very early UFC coverage.
Yeah, it started 5 p.m. Eastern time.
Well, it's a little too early for overlapping the Belmont. Either or, I wasn't really complaining.
Yeah,
I
that was
thought it was a little early though.
that was a lot of fun, and I did bet the undercard. I had to go out and had a family obligation for the main event, but
I think you turned on UFC. I think you're a fan of UFC now.
I like it. I like it.
Welcome aboard. We've been trying to tell you. Welcome aboard.
It's all right, you know. Although, you know, I like the fact that I like boxing. I'm a boxing guy, but even I would admit the late rounds in boxing when both the guys are just tired and they just lean on each other for, you know, rounds basically.
You're not a fan of the
7 through 11.
You're not a fan of the constant bear hugs going on every 10
Yeah,
seconds?
no. I do like the fact that most of the fights are 3 rounds. Some of them are 5 rounds, and we're going to talk about one that shouldn't have been 5 rounds here. But yeah, I'm coming around. But as always, if I can make some money at it, if I am plugged into people that know the sport and have an advantage, like you, like Willie, like reading stuff, doing research for the show, I'm happy. I'm happy. I cashed some tickets. I had a profitable Saturday night. Like I said, I didn't get to bet on the main card, but I did bet on the prelims and had a nice little winning streak going there. So yeah, I was happy. Now, what did you do, Scott? I know that we didn't have a lot of action on them, so I'm not going to go through all the fights. Give me the highlights of the ones that you bet, or any of the upsets, anything that surprised you. I thought I will say on the undercard, I thought Justin James had a heck of a good debut on the UFC, taking care of Frank the Tank Camacho in very short time, 42-second knockout there in the first round. Did that stun you about how dominant Justin James was in that prelim fight?
No, because on the show I said that I like James to. I said I liked some value on James to win by knockout, and unfortunately, at the time of recording, there were no lines up because James literally was announced as the replacement roughly an hour before we went on air. So I took a rain check and I basically said, as of right now, I'm not taking anything, but depending on what the odds were for the prop, I'd look into it. And then James came out on the offshore books as plus 450 to win by knockout, and the fight to end in the first round was plus 165. I sent you a picture of that bet that I took for that. So, yeah, I put half a unit on James by knockout at plus 450, and I took a full unit on fight to end in the first round, and from that fight alone, I made roughly 4 units and change. So overall, very profitable. I talked about how I wasn't a fan of Camacho, 2-4 in his UFC career going into that fight, and James had been known as being a first-round stopper. I really thought they would just start swinging like crazy until somebody connected, and that's exactly what happened, and James connected 40 seconds in, and the fight was over.
And I did have a kind of not kind of got screwed a little bit on the next fight, the Gillian Anderson fight. I had that one to go the distance.
Oh, you didn't have. Okay, so the over won, but the distance lost. Yeah, that's
right. So she wins by submission at 436.
Not great. Yeah.
Got Casey there in the armbar, and man, it was over. And then I started a nice little winning streak with Marc-Andre Barral. He took care of business against. I can't even how they were pronouncing his name. It was nothing close to the way we were pronouncing Pichota or Pichota or whatever it was.
Bruschetta. Bruschetta.
It was I think they call it bruschetta, Scott. But, that was a second round knockout. How'd you do on that one? Or how'd you do on the girls? Did you have anything on the girls, the ladies fight, the women's fight?
The only thing I had on the ladies was I had the distance parlay with Modafferi and Torres, and both of them went the distance like I thought, and it was minus 113. So all I did was I took the minus 300 distance and minus 225 distance and just parlayed them together, and I made minus 113.
No. Casey Robertson didn't go the distance.
No, I didn't touch that one.
Oh, you had the other one?
You said the ladies fight.
Oh, the Murphy Modafferi. Okay, that's right.
I had the over in that. I had the distance in that one. I had the distance in the Torres fight. I skipped the Casey fight. But
yeah, that was an easy catch there.
The only 2 women's fights that I had money on, I just parlayed the distance and I won. So
there you go.
That's all I
And
did.
then the Guida Bobby Green fight was fairly entertaining.
It was entertaining. I mean, it was one-sided, but it was.
It was. You thought Guida would kind of make a couple times. It looked like he might make a little bit of a run, and then he did. So that was that was another easy cash there on that fight. And then we got into the main card. Jim Miller got Roosevelt Roberts there at the very end of the first round, and that was a weird thing to see.
It looked like he was about to like tombstone him on his head, and then he ended up getting an armbar, and he won by submission.
And I guess I didn't even see Roberts tap. I guess he yelled it.
I guess he did too. I didn't see him tap either.
Yeah, I guess he yelled tap, tap, tap. Then
again, it's kind of tough to tap when the guy is about to snap your arm. So, you have the other arm, but I might have been being held. I'm not really sure what happened there. It was a very weird position, but Roberts wasn't complaining, so he clearly tapped. I mean,
no, yeah, you could hear him on the replay. You could hear him yelling tap, tap, tap. And unless he's reading Edgar Allan Poe, then that only means one thing, and that means you're about to get armbarred. So yeah, let me out of here. How'd you do on that one? Did you have Miller? Did you have a little sniff of Miller there?
I skipped it. If I'm being honest, one of those fights where I thought Roberts would win, but I knew Miller was a veteran who had a lot of submission talent. I thought it was being an entertaining fight. I didn't see much value on Roberts at minus like 200 and change. So overall, I passed on that one.
And we had remember the name, Scott. Bilal Muhammad took care of business.
Remember the name, the most common name on the planet. Remember the name.
Against Lyman Good. Lyman Good was it was okay.
My New Yorkers went 0-2 yesterday. It's a damn shame. I didn't have money on either of them, but actually that's not true. I had money on Burgos to win by decision or knockout, and he ended up losing by decision. But we'll get to that fight in a second. Good gave it a good run, but you got taken down too many times. It's unfortunate.
He did. Pennington took care of business against Renault. Another fight, another women's fight.
I had Pennington by decision at plus 110.
Went the distance. That was a good call there. And then Scott, the fight of the night, absolutely, as Josh Emmett and Shane Burgos just squared off against each other for 3 action-packed rounds, buddy. Not a lot of ground, a lot of pound. That was I think they just went to the ground twice briefly during those 3 rounds.
Yeah. I mean, they went to the ground twice. And that was because Burgos literally got flattened and put on his back. That's the only reason why they were
right. I don't know how you just take shots like that. I don't know how you eat those punches like Burgos did. It was unbelievable to see. And Burgos just kept working on him. Had the 5-inch reach advantage. Worked a lot on that left knee. I thought the left knee for Emmett was going to ultimately give out.
Emmett's knee was destroyed 15 seconds into the fight, and yet he held on. I think he probably tore something, but I haven't heard much about it. I think he tore something though.
And it's in a kick that's sent every man watching into doubling over. Shane Burgos had a little bit of a low blow there, and actually, where he was aiming, it was really more of a side blow. And I kind of wondered about that with the high inside kicks of the lower thigh, upper knee area. I kind of wondered early in the fight, like, man, that wouldn't take much to miss one of those and really bum out Josh Emmett.
It was bad timing in the 3rd round, but you could tell that it wasn't intentional or anything.
No. I mean, it was really close to where he was aiming, most of the night with that left-footed kick. So,
do you think that Emmett won, or did you think that it was a draw?
You know what?
It was a draw, if I'm being honest. For round 1 was a toss-up for me. I thought round 1 could have gone either way. I thought Burgos won round 2, and then round 3, Emmett clearly won. I mean, Emmett got 2 knockdowns in round 3, so I probably would have scored it a 10-8. But round 1 was very close. I really couldn't tell round 1. Burgos definitely did most of the, I'd say, octagon control, where it seemed like he kept backing Emmett up against the cage every time. So I actually had the fight as a draw, but I wasn't shocked that Emmett got the win. I personally would have given it a draw if I had a scorecard.
Well, I don't know, because you can't have a draw round. It's a 10-point must system, right?
No, but the point is you could have a draw by saying Burgos won the first 2 10-9, and then Emmett won the third one 10-8, and then you.
No, I know you can have a draw, but you can't have a draw.
You have to pick somebody for round 1, and round 1 was pretty much just a complete toss-up.
You know what? I don't. This is where I'm going to. This is where I'm going to plead my inexperience with this sport. I don't have enough of a background watching and knowing how the scoring system works and seeing how judges score fights to really have a hot take on who won that fight. Put it this way: I wouldn't have been surprised if they lifted either hand at the end of that fight. I wasn't stunned. I
would have been more surprised if Burgos won because he got knocked down twice. So I would have been more surprised if he won. But
he took some serious shots. But for the most part, he controlled the fight. So it's really, what do you look? Are you looking for significant strikes? And even the round where he got knocked down, one of the rounds, he came back and basically won about the rest of the round. So I kind of thought he fought his way out of a 10-8 and maybe fought his way up to a 10-9
I think you normally fought out of a 10-8 if you get knocked down once. He got knocked down twice. I feel like that's just an automatic 10-8 at that point.
Well, he didn't get knocked down in the same round, though, did he?
Yeah, it's third round. He got knocked down early in the third round, and then you had the groin kick, and then he got knocked down again.
I think he got knocked down once in the second round.
I'm pretty sure both were in the third.
Okay, well now I want to go see that.
I'm pretty sure both were in the third.
It's a great fight. It was
one of the best 3-round fights I've seen in a while. Was it fight of the year? No. The fight of the year was still Joanna versus Wei Li for the women's title a couple months ago, which is, I think, the greatest women's fight of all time. But as for a high-quality fight, it was very, very good.
Yeah, very good fight. And did you make money on that? Who'd you have on that one?
I had Burgos to win by decision or knockout, and I lost. But it was money well spent. I got a lot of entertainment out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the kind of the dud of the evening for me, at least as far as expectations go, at least its positioning. It wasn't, with Blades as a -450 favorite, you didn't really have expectations of this being a good fight. And you know what, Scott?
It wasn't a good fight.
It was not a good fight at all. As Drago spent really most of the night on one knee. He decided to take a knee. Apparently that was his strategy.
I had no idea what he was doing pretty much the entire fight.
Well, it looked that way, but I mean, obviously he's a veteran fighter. He's got a good body of work. He's.
I just want to know what training camp he was using going into the fight. Like, Blades is known for being a takedown guy who loves to sit on people and do whatever. I don't know what you've been training for the last couple of months, but he took you down 14 times. You probably should have, worked on your takedown defense a little bit. Just my thought right there.
Man, Drago, he's 6'7". He's an international kickbox champion, but he just couldn't get off the canvas, basically.
How about my bet for that one? I had under 2.5 takedowns in the fight, and there were 4 takedowns in the first 70 seconds of the fight. How about that one?
You had under 2.5 takedowns? I forgot about that.
It was plus 150. My logic was it's minus 440, and Blades is plus 275 to win in the first round. So I figured Blades would take him down once and just ground and pound him to death. Instead, it seemed like Blades took him down, then would just let Volkov get up, and then would just tackle him again. And it was the same story for 4 rounds.
Eventually, yeah, he was just leaning on him. He just leaned on him for the whole fight. And obviously it was a strategy that worked. Blades was dominated the cards.
Yeah, but Dana White publicly said he was not pleased with that main event.
I
don't blame him.
I'd talk to the boss. Maybe the guy that owns UFC would be somebody he should talk to. Oh wait.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, that's
Well, Blades is a serious contender now, but I don't really know who he's supposed to fight, if I'm being honest. Because if you look at who's in the weight class, you got Cormier fighting Miocic in a couple months, and Ngannou's still in the wind for the next title shot, and Ngannou already beat Blades twice. So I don't know who Blades is supposed to fight next, but he's got to fight somebody.
Got to fight somebody, man. Got to fight somebody. It'll be interesting to see what they do with him. So overall, Scott, how'd you end up doing on the night?
Pretty well. The James fight was definitely the highlight of my night. I ended up going 4-4 for plus 2.38 units. So solid UFC day. Can't really complain. I gave back a decent amount of it on golf and on soccer as well. A couple bad beats in soccer there, but it is what it is. I had the 1-1 draw, as I said before, between Arsenal and Brighton. 1-1, 95th minute goal, 2-1 finish. That was plus 600. And I also had Liverpool to win to 0-0. They just didn't score. Salah didn't play. Liverpool just didn't play their best player. He was supposed to come in the 70th minute. Then one of their defensive backs got injured, so they had to use their final sub for an injury substitution, and Salah never got to play. So if Salah got to play, maybe there would have been something there. But Liverpool had roughly 75% possession and just couldn't score. So it was just unfortunate. But either or, I made back some golf money. I gave out plays. We both did. And those plays didn't really go well at all. Kuchar choked late. He was supposed to finish top 30. Bogeyed, I believe it was 16 and 18 to finish 41st. And he was top 30 pretty much the entire final day, which was upsetting. But I ended up doing a live bet after day one. I took Webb Simpson to finish top 10 at minus 150. And I kind of laid the juice on that, and he ended up winning the tournament. So I ended up making some money out of that.
Yeah,
but
that worked out all right. You know, my relative newcomer there, you know, Matthew Neesmith, that I took at a huge price, he acquitted himself well. He finished tied for 33rd, 12 under, you know, not bad. I mean,
I had McNeely, who was 10 under through 3 days, and then he ended up shooting +3 on day 4. But I believe he was only like 4 back going into the final day. And I'm like, all right, it's better than nothing. Like, I guess, whatever.
Sure. No, you didn't have, you know, we didn't pick guys that, you know, didn't make the cut, never got a sniff.
I had him and I had Grace, and both of them made the cut, and they were both within like 5 shots going into the final day, and then they just didn't do anything. But, you know, not bad. For an 80-1, for a 66-1 and a 200-1, not awful. Same thing with your boy Pan. Your boy Pan was decent through 3 days.
Yeah, he was decent through 3 days as well. He fell off the wagon there in day 4, but you know, yeah, he had a sniff there for a while. So, you know, even though we didn't make money, we didn't have horrible picks. If you could have taken our picks and done a little something with them, you could have done make the cut, top 30. You know, not all of them top 30.
Whatever. I told you before, I never really consider myself a sharp golf handicapper.
No.
And golf is definitely not my strong suit when it comes to handicapping. So you give out some plays based on value, and if it works out, it works out. But don't be shocked if golf kind of bites you at the end, because a lot of it's just based on unpredictability.
And you had what, 9 or 10 guys within 2 or 3 shots of the lead there.
It was nuts. The tournament itself was crazy.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. And you know, Webb Simpson kind of looked like he was going to be out of it. And then he came roaring back there.
He birdied he birdied 5 of the last 7.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And you know, Ty Hatton, he gave enough back. Just, you know, nice round, but gave enough back.
I was rooting for Answer. He looked really good yesterday. I actually like him a lot.
Yeah, I never knew much about him. He finishes up with he goes 64, 65, 65 on his last 3 days.
That's the all-time record for most fairways hit in the history of the tournament.
Oh, is that right?
I don't think he missed a fairway in the last 2.5 days.
That'll do it. That'll keep you out of trouble.
Every time I saw him for a tee shot, it just went right down the middle. Every time. He was just a phenomenal.
And here's one of these guys that you were talking about, where if golf would have been on all day, we could have seen Dylan Fratelli.
He wasn't on television.
262. That's what I'm saying.
Guy randomly shoots 9 under to start the day, and you're wondering, why can't I watch this?
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying, because you would have been able to see him. Of course, you know, the tournament was on TV. It's not on NBC, but it was available if you want.
You might have to pay extra for the early coverage.
Okay. So.
Or yeah, I said you might. I mean, you might have to just get creative, but you know what I mean. It's an inconvenience that probably shouldn't be an inconvenience. It's Sunday. You got nothing on. Even NASCAR's on in the afternoon. You can play the early golf. Like, come on.
So how'd you end up doing on the golf tournament? Did you make any money at all?
No. I lost money. I gave some back, but I took a live bet on Webb Simpson top 10 after day 1 at minus 150 and cut into some of the damages. But as a whole, I'm a bigger fan of betting on golf in the middle of the tournament as opposed to betting on golf at the start of the tournament. So I like live betting stuff late in day 4, and I like doing matchup props going into maybe like a live matchup props or something like that.
Right.
I'm the guy who actually, for golf especially, I need to see how the guy's performing. Because golf is such a game of inches. And I know people say that about football and some other sports. Golf is really one of those sports where if you just miscalculate a putt by a millimeter, it changes so much. So I like to see how the guy's performing for the first couple of holes and then try to extrapolate that for the rest of the day. That's usually how I try to go about it.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's especially in a tournament where ball striking is so important, keeping the ball in the fairway.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to have somebody that's swinging the club consistently throughout that tournament. So fun to see, fun tournament. Where do they go next? God, do you know?
For golf, I truly forgot, but hang on a second. I could find that out in a second.
Now we're racing in the Google. Of course, now my internet's slowing up.
The next thing is the Travelers Championship. So
the Travelers Championship. Where's that going to be?
It's an excellent question. It's going to be at TPC River Highlands, which is in Connecticut.
Thank you.
In Connecticut.
Okay, so that'll be fun. We'll take a look at that, and I'm sure we will have a bunch of hot takes on the golf here later in the week. So
maybe we'll have a guest on. So we'll see what happens.
So overall, decent weekend. Made a little money, had a little fun.
Well, the Belmont and the UFC helped out, and I mean, I can't really. I guess as of right now, the weekend was profitable, but I got to take a rain check as NASCAR was supposed to be included in the weekend, so we'll see.
Yeah.
As well.
We'll see how that goes. So overall, it was a fun weekend. Do we miss baseball and basketball? Of course we do, but you make do with what you have. You have some fun.
Baseball, baseball seems to continue to fall apart. So we'll see what happens.
Did you have the vote went yesterday?
I don't really care, to be honest. I kind of just wave the flag on it if I'm being. It seems like whenever there's a new proposal and then the media immediately goes to the new proposal, I can't believe it. As soon as they just go crazy about it, the union or the MLB immediately just rejects it, like every time.
Well, it looks like they're going to vote on it this afternoon. Here's the deal, dude. They're going to reach a compromise. Okay.
It should. It should have been reached 3 weeks ago.
The players are at 70. The owners are at 60. They're going to figure this out. Okay. They're too close. I can't believe 10 games is going to cost us the entire baseball season. I can't believe the owners aren't smarter than this to, they've already given up the ability to dominate the sports landscape in July.
I think the owners might just be playing the waiting game and saying, you want 70, we want 60. If we wait this out, it'll be actually impossible to have 70 games.
Well, the owners that Manfred has the ability with the March agreement to impose whatever season they want to. So they can say, okay, we were unable to reach an agreement, so here's what the season is going to be. It's going to be 45 games, it's going to be 48 games, whatever. And this is when we're starting.
How many players do you think will actually go for that?
Be there, be square. I don't know what the ramifications are if they don't show, Scott. I don't know if
I think there are any ramifications. What are you going to say? They just take the year off.
Are you contractually obligated to show up? What happens to your contract?
I'm assuming you just won't get paid.
Well, okay. So you don't get paid. You don't get vetted for that year.
I don't compare the NFL to the MLB, but I'm assuming it would be similar to what happened with Le'Veon Bell, where he was on the Steelers and he was supposed to play in his last year in his contract, and he didn't play, so they simply just kept the year on the contract.
I don't know. We'll see what happens, and then I think then it's going to be in the player. I think the players have the high ground right now. I think the
players do have the high ground, but the question is, if Manfred comes out and says, "All right, I've had enough of this. We're having a 50-game season. Deal with it." How many percentage of the players think will actually go? Probably not many. I think it's more principle at this point.
Interesting. And then do you bring
in some minor leaguers and some replacement players and you just throw it in? But in reality, the way I see it is that if the whole point is that the players and the owners basically, it seems like they despise each other. And it seems like the players are willing to do whatever it takes not to cave to the man, so to speak, with the owner. The question is, if the owners and Manfred, who sides with the owners because that's basically his job, says, all right, we're having 50 games, deal with it. The players basically have a choice of saying either A, we cave, in which case the owners win, or B, we just tell them to F off and then we just, continue doing what we're doing. I think a decent amount of players would just say no. Because principle-wise, I think they want to get a heads up or at least an advantage on the 2021 labor negotiations.
That's definitely true, and that's something.
Well, I think not playing in this 50-game season could be used as leverage for 2021.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be it'll be interesting to see what happens. And if they bring in substitute players and the ratings are good,
I don't think the ratings will be good, so I don't think they have to worry about that.
I think they will be. I think
Really?
people are dying for sports. Absolutely.
I am a little bit skeptical on that.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. This is going to be.
People are going to be tuning into Angels games if Mike Trout's not playing.
Yes, I do.
I don't think there'll be as many as you think. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe not. And Addison Russell
going down anyway, so it's not like it's going to suddenly have a second wave here. MLB's ratings have been plummeting for years.
Did you see what Addison Russell's going to do with where he's going to serve his 50-game suspension?
Yeah, he's going to Korea.
Kaiwoon, I believe, is where he's going to be playing.
Well, I mean, he got put in the minors for a little while last year. He completely fell apart, but for his career, he was right on the Cubs. He won a World Series. Then he had domestic violence issue, and then his career fell apart. But I'm assuming in Korea he'll probably be a top 20 player as soon as he steps onto the field.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, no question about it. We've been saying this for a month, Scott, but I think we may have an answer to baseball by the end of this week.
I told you I don't think there's going to be a season a month ago, so I'm just kind of waiting it out.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. That was a 2-1 money. Although I don't know, man. I think there's going to be something. I think they're going to do something.
They should have been doing something a month ago, but they've been doing nothing for the last month.
Well, yeah, they've been, and they take it forever between counter offers. And it's ridiculous.
I'm still confused what happened last week, though. They sent the players a new deal, and they were negotiating on it, and the owners thought the players agreed to it, but the players didn't agree to it. What the hell was that about?
I don't know. That was they apparently called their bluff with 100% prorated.
Either they sign the dotted line or they don't sign the dotted line. How do you think they signed an agreement?
Well, with labor negotiations, you have the heads of labor that are speaking for the group, and they say, well, you know what? We like this proposal. We think this is a good proposal. We're going to put it to a vote with the membership. But nothing's ratified till the membership votes on it.
Yeah, and I think that it's
no matter how much Tony Clark likes it or doesn't like it.
And everyone knows it's a well-known thing, especially not just in sports but in general. If you want something true, put it in writing.
Oh yeah, I know.
Say. So if you have a verbal agreement, it means nothing. You got to put it in writing. And I don't really like how the owners celebrated, saying we got him, we did it, and it's like, what? The players turned their backs on us. They betrayed us. Like it was some type of last-ditch public opinion type of maneuver. And I'm thinking to myself, no, you didn't provide any contract or anything, so why the hell did you think they agreed to it?
Right, that's the thing. And it would hit. That was about the 90% prorated versus 100% prorated, and I don't know. It's in the weeds, man. I don't.
It's like the owners tried to pull a fast one and said, like, this isn't our fault. So, like, the players turned their backs on us. This wasn't right. I'm thinking, I can clearly see what you're doing. The players didn't agree to it. Just
right.
Like it's not. You've completely butchered the public. I think that's my favorite part of this whole labor negotiations. Even though there's no season, the whole thing sucks. I think the funniest part is that you have a bunch of really, really old people trying to manipulate the media into turning on the players, and how it has backfired so dramatically. I think it's hilarious. I think that's the silver lining for me with this entertainment, is that the owners were figured, oh, we can easily spin this and talk about how the players are, greedy and whatever. And yet everything has been turned back against the owners on every single occasion. And the owners keep trying to double down more and more until it works out. But they failed every time in the court of public opinion.
Yeah, they're really not doing well, and I think the public's getting tired of both sides. So we'll see what happens.
I agree.
With that.
I think the public's pretty much punted it, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will. There seems to be a little bit of a second wave or a spike in some states with Corona. I know there's 40 Major League Baseball players that have tested positive. The news just keeps coming. So anyway, you know what? We're done. You got anything else?
No. Let's hopefully make let's make some profit today on NASCAR.
Yeah, I'm ready to make some money on NASCAR. That's good. I started off the show. I was in a great mood. We had a fun weekend.
You always bring up baseball, and it always.
I know.
You always
bring I know. It's my own damn fault. I feel like every week we close the show. Every day we close the show with Charlie Brown trying to kick the football again, and every day Lucy pulls it back. I'm like, well, tomorrow will be the day. So.
I stopped trying to kick the ball roughly a month ago, so I haven't had to worry about that.
Yeah, you're a smart man. All right, buddy. Let's watch a little NASCAR, make a little money. We thank everybody for tuning in. Scott, you got any final thoughts for the viewers out there?
For the sake of the two of us, go Chase Hill.
Fair enough. All right, and we thank everybody for stopping by. For myself, for Scott Reichel over there at Winners and Winers, don't forget to stop by and check out winnersandwiners.com. You know, we talk about it every day. It's the best site in the world. If you haven't been there, you should be. They're doing previews, breakdowns on all the major sports that you can bet on.
They got esports also.
Got esports also, as I was going to say. We've got Winning Willie. Got a couple of esports snipers that we just hired. They are doing well with their esports picks. So if you want to make a little money, you want to think about it like the stock market, like I don't want to watch esports. You don't have to. You don't have to sign up for Twitch. You don't have to do all that shit. Just if you want to make money, you bet on it. You sit back at the end of the day and you look at your account. It has more in it than it did when the day started. That's what you need to know about esports. All right. So even if you're not an esports fan, think about it as an investment. Get over there. Check out the great writers, winnersandwiners.com, and our sister site over there at statsalt.com. For all of us, for myself, for Scott Reichel, we appreciate you guys stopping by. We couldn't do it without you. Of course, don't forget to drop us a comment. Let us know what you're on. If you're having fun, you got any suggestions for the show, we'll take it. We don't care. We'll kind of free forming it here. So if you have any ideas, we'd love to hear them. All right. So you guys take it easy. Have a great day. Let's go and make a little NASCAR money, and we'll see you back there tomorrow with a show about something. I don't think we've fleshed out our whole week yet. So you know what? We'll all be surprised on Tuesday's show. All right. You guys have a great day. Stay safe, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Take care.